What is up, my cutouts? Cardboard Ninja here, coming at you with planned balance changes. Here they come. Here it is. Here we go. Second half of July will bring a new update that will have a number of certain necessary balance changes. Now, if you guys recall, I've said this no less than 2 other times in other videos up to this point. Those changes that you saw prior to the energy update they're coming. They're just, trickling them in. Yeah, I'm not gonna take it. May have a second take for that. I don't give a shit. They're trickling them in, and that's most likely what's gonna happen here. But there are some surprises. As always, these balance changes are not final. They're final, as they always are, and they might not be implemented to the game at all. They will be. Some additional changes could be made. That actually does happen. That part actually, usually they nerf some extra stuff. Rotation speed increase, huge buff for the Equalizer, Arbiter, Miller, Reaper, Spike, Toadfish, Rapier, Storm, Whirlwind, Stillwind, Yokai, Therm, Jewel, Tempest, Whirl, Astrea, Cyclone, Little Boy, Hulk, Fat Man, Elephant, Mammoth, Mastodon, Phoenix, Synthesis, Prometheus, Helios, Median, Veyron, Waltz, Helicon, Narwhal, Jotun, Aurora, Quasar, Pulsar, Trigger, Destructor, Blockchain, and Assembler, all getting buffed to various degrees. Some of those slower moving weapons, such as the Mammoth, Mastodon, Phoenix, Synthesis, Prometheus, and Helios, have had their traverse speed increased by 100%, just doubling it. So if ever you've been using the oppressor with those weapons and you've been traveling at top speed, you've got 70%. Now, they're just saying F this. They just gave up. So for those of us who don't know, the oppressor's perk is that it speeds up weapon rotation. The problem is that the only way to get any good weapon rotation is if you use wheels. It's the only way to get the speed necessary. And if you're using any other movement part, well, you don't have the speed necessary, and B, you just don't need the rotation. So this is in the attempts to stop making everyone use the oppressor. The oppressor, for a good long time, has been, I would have argued, the number 1 or number 2 engine in crossout. Even after the release of the Pegasus, even after the release of the Finwhale, the oppressor the perk has just been too good. Because it's been mandatory. It's like, how else are you going to turn your guns? Well, this is how, goddammit. They're going to make your guns simply turn faster. That's it. And they're like, well, hopefully this won't make the oppressor less popular. If it does, then we'll have to rework its perk. Here's the deal. You know what I'm going to do. You already know what I'm going to do. You guys are all going to do this. I'm going to use my goddamn mammoths with the fucking oppressor. Why would I stop doing that? Why would we stop using the oppressor? That doesn't even make sense. It's like, oh, but now it's just... That's ridiculous. It's just going to be a slight quality of life thing. It's going to feel better. Yeah, that's why we're going to use it. That's why we're still going to use the oppressor. Whatever. It is what it is. Looking at this in general, these are massive buffs to the majority of weapons, though. There's a though. There's a massive buff to the majority of weapons at lower power score. Typically, arbiters have their weapons not necessarily locked in a singular direction, but pretty much locked. It's been a while since people have attempted to use the KTM style superfire positioned arbiters or equalizers. Reapers, Millers, and yes, I clicked those in opposite order. Spike and Toadfish, 58%. Again, the Miller and the Reaper need it. I mean, this is actually not just a quality of life buff. This is mandatory. These guns suck. Like, the only reason why the Miller is awesome is because you can actually have it on a low enough power score vehicle with enough energy, blah, 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 that you can actually travel quickly. Reaper doesn't have that. Reaper just takes way too much power score for what it can do. And so that's a pretty big buff. Quality of life, my ass, that's mandatory. Next up, of course, the autocannons. Whatever. I mean, whatever. Like, in reality, you don't use the autocannons. Nobody uses any autocannons with the exception of the Therm and Jewel as rotating autocannons. Even Cyclones, even though they're getting a 36% increase to their turret traverse, no one does this. Everyone fires them straight, right? You fire these straight, you fire the Whirlwind straight, you fire the Stillwind straight, you fire the Yokai straight. Anyway, it's just a nice quality of life for the majority of them, and the Narwhal, 114%. Don't worry though. If you're looking at that and you're thinking, "Oh man, Narwhal," don't worry. It's gonna get its later. Trust. Moving on, the buggy wheels, the Bigfoots, and the Sabbath nerfed into the ground because they're good. You guys know it, I know it. That's why we're using them. There are two things that they're doing. One, in this instance, and this is actually, we'll just go cover what they're doing at as they cover it. The Buggy, Bigfoot, and Sabbath all have perks that state as you go faster and or are taking damage. If you hear keys in the background, it's because I'm dropping keys. Dropping it like it's hot. You basically get a benefit. The Sabbath wheels are one of everyone's all-time favorite, acting as a second engine, giving you a significant boost to your top speed. I think it's 20% or something when you get 5 stacks to cap and top speed, and a massive increase to power. You've got Bigfoots, which are my personal favorite wheels, though they're catching a nerf buff later. Which of course reduce the, I'm sorry, not reduce, but as you travel distance, it refreshes, reduces the distance needed to activate certain perks, included but not limited to the Cheetah. The Oppressor Cheetah combo is the staple combo that you would look to for that. And the Buggy Wheel, which reduces the top speed necessary for the perks to activate. And this is very, very strong when combined with things such as the RN Seal. And especially when you combine it with other wheels such as the Hermits, great with the, believe it or not, I think it's Lances as well. No, I think, yeah, Buggy Wheel works with the Lances. It does all that stuff. Oh, it also works, and the Buggy Wheel also buffs the Fin Whale. So these are really, really strong. They're getting nerfed. They're like, whoa. People are like using half and half because, our game has infinite combinations and they will try to seek, a very, very, very powerful build utilizing these combos that we made available. Whoopsie, we made them available, so we're nerfing it. So instead, if you were 50-50, it would give you 1/2 of each bonus. And they even give you an example. Movement parts on Buggy Wheels works 50% of maximum, which is 40%. So that would mean that if you have 50-50, let's say Buggy Wheels and Bigfoots, you get 20%. However, after the change, you'll get 35% of its maximum, which gives you only 14%. So that's actually a pretty big nerf, but there's always Hertz. Don't forget about Hertz. Sorry, drinking. So long story short, means that you're going to get 34% with Hertz instead of 40% with Hertz if you 50-50 your wheels. But this means that if you don't 50-50 your wheels, the amount that you're getting is, I have no idea. It's low. It's not going to be ridiculously low, but it's going to be too low. Bigfoot, which is the other thing I was mentioning, a Sleipnir tank track meat grinder. They changed these wheel groups and tonnage calculations down, selling these parts will cause lower movement parts to increase tonnage and use their perks only if they make contact with the ground. Womp womp. So everyone now has to redo their fucking Leviathan again. Hey, you guys enjoy rebuilding your Leviathans from the ground up? Do you enjoy doing that? I hope you enjoy doing that, because you're going to be doing that again. Get fucked again. Anyway, overall, what ends up happening is this. Bigfoots, Sleipnirs, tank tracks, and meat grinders raise your build off the ground. Then, if you have, let's say, wheels on your build, those wheels typically don't tend to touch the ground, but still grant you tonnage bonus and perk bonuses, and they ain't having that. They're like, nah, dog, we ain't doing that. Nah. We screwed over legs last time. Now we're screwing over slightly larger wheels. Get fucked. Stay salty. And that's what's happening. So what ends up happening is if you use Bigfoots and let's say Hermits, and the Hermits don't touch the ground, Hermit perk no worky, or let's say use Bigfoots and let's say any other wheel, like the Buggy Wheels. Yeah, the Bigfoot Buggy Wheel combo busted. Unless those Buggy Wheels are scraping on the ground and making squealing noises, then you're not getting any of that bonus whatsoever. But I'll bet you're getting the nerf. I bet you're getting this nerf of the Bigfoot perk not working to its 100%. So there you go. They're just bringing wheels in line with legs because apparently they hate all movement parts. They hate all movement parts. Youngwang, Fortune, Porcupine, technically huge buff. So the Porcupine, I long mentioned, is one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful weapon in all of Crossout. And the people who got good with the Porcupine are generally cancerous. The idea is that all of these weapons maintain your momentum. So if you're driving straight, per se, and you fire your Yangwang or your Fortune, your Porcupine, and it does exactly what Newton's law does in real life. It will roll the mine literally right next to your car. And you'll see it just go out next to your car. And it makes hitting people really difficult. This works different than certain things such as the Retcher or cannons or anything else, where your momentum is not carried through to your weapon break, the shot that your weapon makes when it breaks. So they're just making these in line with all other weapons. This is actually, I would argue, to be a massive buff, or a minor nerf. So the reason why it's a minor nerf would be that if that you don't maintain your vehicle's momentum at point of firing, it means that certain fortune plays are no longer possible. Fortunes, especially when fused for projectile velocity, combined with use driving really quickly, 120 kilometers an hour, at your opponent, means that you can fire your fortunes and bounce them off the terrain and send your shots across the map. That will no longer be the case. That's not possible anymore. The porcupine will no longer be able to go up hills anywhere near as well. Also, because the issue is the porcupine maintained your momentum as it went up hills. This is the reason why being at the high ground actually wasn't that big of a saving grace against the porcupine. For me personally, I think that's just a straight up buff for the Yongwang. I fucking suck with this thing. Cabins, maximum speed upgrade, nerf. Fuck that 3 kilometers an hour. It's now 3%. Once again, they hate all movement parts. They just hate movement. Fucking, do you guys remember that? There was a game way back in the day where it was just 2 castles stationary, and then you had to input coordinates and power, and then you tried to like hit your opponent's castle before they hit you. That's what they're trying to convert the game into. They don't like speed. So this is obviously a nerf to heavy cabins, much larger nerf to heavy cabins than it is to light cabins as per standard. Light cabins will get the majority of this as plus 3 kilometers. Some of them won't. The Torero, which moves at 90, isn't going to get 3 kilometers anymore. It's going to get less, and so on and so forth. So, long story short, they invented this buff, and they said, whoopsie, once again, we made this buff and made everyone refuse to it, and so now that you've fused to this new buffed cabin, we're nerfing it. Alright, moving on to the ZS33 Hulk. In addition to the changes above to turret traverse, they are nerfing / buffing the reload, and which is the perk of the Hulk and the ZS34 Fat Man. So the Fat Man used to cut off half a second, and the Hulk used to cut off a third of a second of your reload if you landed your shot, which led to obviously faster reloads. They're instead changing that to 10% and 15%. Basically, they're saying, whoopsie, wait a minute, hold on, there's percentage bonuses, and when you stack reload all the way, this is good, and we don't want it to be good, we want it to exist. And that's what they're doing, they're changing it. Because the thing is, everybody does the exact same thing, which is get as much reload as possible, and the perk with the flat number of half a second and third of a second were superior to a 10 or 15% decrease to reload speed. But now they're just saying, nah, you'll get it this way. And so if you're a newer player and you don't have the ability to stack reload like a motherfucker, then this is a slight buff. If you're an older player and you were seal clubbing newer players, first of all, fuck you. You're ruining the game. Stop doing that. These people aren't going to stay if you keep seal clubbing them. And secondly, they're nerfing your fucking hat for your Fat Man Hulk bully build, you asshole. Continuing on, buff to the Spike. Spike doesn't have a perk. It's getting a perk. So everyone knows that the perk literally written on the Spike just says the words, hey, it's got more impulse than other guns, man. And you have to take the fucking perk's word for it because you've never seen the Spikes do shit, and you know it. I know it. We see each other. We've seen each other in battle. You know the Spike doesn't do anything. So what they're doing is every single Spike that you install increases the impulse of other Spikes, not itself, by 35%, which is interesting. Because that would mean that your first Spike has no impulse bonus at all and just has its previous perk of known perk whatsoever, but it still has the actual same perk. Notice they're not removing or nerfing the impulse. So the impulse is still exactly the same. So one Spike before and the one Spike later is going to be exactly the same. But if you put 2 Spikes on, then each of these is going to increase the other Spikes by 35%. So you're going to have a total of 35 spread apart. Then when you put on a third Spike, you're going to get 70, 80%, like 70% impulse increase. And if you get the fourth Spike on, you're going to be at 105 or something like that. So, and that's over the Spike's current impulse, because they aren't saying that they're nerfing it. See, they say the unique feature of the Spike, the high impulse, is almost unnoticeable in its current form. Yeah, no, this isn't a perk. It doesn't do anything. It's completely valueless. Adding the perk will make the impulse noticeable on medium power score vehicles with 3 Spikes, but it will not increase it at low power scores. The massive enemies, whatever. Funny story. There is an event. It is called Impulse, and when it comes around, Yeah, it's gonna be funny. You're gonna one hit people again. You're just gonna send them straight to the X zone with that shit. For those of us who don't know, the event makes it so every weapon has like 400% recoil and 400% impulse or something like that. The spike in that game mode is going to send people instantaneously to the grave because it'll accelerate their entire build to the speed limit of crossout, at which point in time, if they touch the ground with any part of their build other than a leg or a wheel, they explode instantaneously. Yangwang continuing the trend. If you remember, it's going to gain the... is going to lose the momentum added to / affecting the balls. It's Yangwang balls. But in addition to that, they're changing the perk. So it used to be 12%, it used to be 15%. Now it's down to 6%. Now the bonus depends on the rarity. So legendary modules give 6, epic give 5, special 4, rare 3, and common give 2. Long story short, this is a nerf. It's going from 6% to you've got to shove legendary modules on to get your 6% energy for the modules. Whatever, it's a nerf. It's fine. The efficiency of the weapon was too damn high. That's what they're saying. Power scores 7,000 to 16,000. Yeah, it's true. But here's the thing, though. Remember, this wasn't just the Yangwang. Right? This is usually Wang boosters. Usually Wang boosters, possibly Wang loaders if you're using the dead man, right? But that's how you get that, that discrepancy. You're just slinging balls, and those balls do way too much damage. But here's the thing, though. Yangwang's been in the game for actually 3 years now or something like that. And when it came into the game, it was already cancer. It hits too hard for an epic. Anywho, Quantum. This is the first epic medium cabin in crossout. It has a perk that is not very good. For I think it was years, actually, the perk was broken. I didn't even know that, and it actually had no perk whatsoever. But the Quantum's perk is if you take no damage, and as long as you've taken no damage for the last, I think, like 10 seconds or so, which is ridiculous. It really should be lower than that. It should turn off and on like 3 seconds. Your damage with energy weapons has increased. It used to be 20, now it's 25. Neat. They're nerfing the Caucas again. They hate this gun. Just fucking remove it from the game, you goddamned assholes. Just remove it from the game. So, anyway, the nerf is the dependence of spread on flight speed is increased by 2 times. Meaning the faster you go while flying, the more your weapons spread. This only affects you if you're using the Caucas on helicopters, which is the only place in all of Crossout the Caucas is even viable remotely. They nerfed it into the ground like 4 times. And the reason why they did this, once again, and I keep bringing this up every single time it happens, because of a fusion event. Fusion event came out, said Caucases are now 17% more accurate. Literally, the very next patch, what did they do? They reduced the base accuracy of the Caucas by 15% because it was too good. They're like, whoopsie, we gave you Fusion that you decided to actually get. Well, fuck you. Now your Caucases are back to being the exact accurate as they were before. Which, by the way, if you're brand new to the game and you're using a base Caucas, this thing is unplayable. So it's fucking unplayable. So then people are like, oh, damn, the Caucas is terrible on the ground, but it actually has use in helicopter game mode. And then what they do, they're like, whoopsie, people are using the Caucas in helicopter game mode, and they nerfed it. They nerfed the traverse of the Caucas so it can't aim up anymore. The fucking thing basically only aims out horizontally, making you lean your helicopter super deep if you even want to return fire on people above you. Fine, fair enough. Not enough, they said. Now the Caucas, while flying, gets nerfed. Yeah, just remove from the game, you fucking assholes. Just fucking delete it, return our money. Bigfoot ST. So you guys remember what I said, that the Bigfoots are changing a little bit? The tonnage is increased from Bigfoot steering wheels from 1250 to 15K. Though it doesn't seem to be that they've increased the standard Bigfoot tonnage. They're saying that this is due to the fact that now that nothing can assist the Bigfoot, because the Bigfoot is lifting your build, it's the only thing touching the ground, that needs more tonnage to actually achieve that. So they're increasing the tonnage. But it doesn't look like they're doing it to the Bigfoot, the standard Bigfoot, just the Bigfoot ST. Gravistar, nerf. In case you guys didn't know this, Gravistars, while they are an energy shotgun, are not a shotgun. So when you were using them with things like, RN seals and things like that, you were getting the full cooling. So you could get tons of shots. Well, they're nerfing that. They're like, nope, it's a shotgun now. get fucked. So now, as you note, if you look on any radiators, it says that it has a percentage that it gives for all weapons, wink, and then a percentage for shotguns only. That's what they're changing Gravistar to, that percentage for shotguns only, which is significantly lower. The Tackler. Energy consumption reduced from 6 to 5. Oh my god, everybody go out and start buying Tacklers. They're making it so you can get even more Tacklers on the build. Power score reduced from 810 to 675. Yeah! Damage reduced by 19%. Straight into the shit pile. Sorry, I'm drinking while I'm reading these notes. Straight into the shit pile. So, I'm going to give you guys a brief history of the Tackler. It was released in the game. No one gave any cares about it because it was a machine gun. No one cared. Then people found out the Tackler was fucking balling out of control. It was out of control balling. And for about 8 months, there was a Tackler Spider meta where it was Nova Cabin, 4 Tacklers, and they were unbeatable at basically every power score. I believe, if I recall correctly, there was even a Tackler build that worked in CW. If someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But then Targum looked at that, was like, whoopsie, this gun is good. And they fucked it. Right in the mouth. They fucked it. Just directly in the mouth. And the Tackler got nerfed like 3 times. So the first thing they did was they reduced the damage. The second thing they did was reduce the spread. And I think the third thing they did, was reduce the damage again. Because people were trying to use it. And they're like, I'd like to use this gun that you made in the game. And then the game was like, no. You shan't be doing that. So the Tackler right now sits in a very garbage position. And doing what they just did here, it's going to stay in that position. It's going to stay garbage. Stay garbage forever. 19% damage nerf. Why? Ow. So their comment is, low popularity of this machine gun. You guys can go into the market and it was reaching like 100 fucking coins. And there's a reason. It's dog shit. It's not, oh my god. So its accuracy is very bad since they nerfed its accuracy into the ground because people were actually using the thing, using it. And then in addition to it having very, very, very poor accuracy and very large bloom, in addition to that, they changed how its damage reduction mechanic worked, whatever, none of that matters. In addition to that, now they're just reducing the damage by 10%. Don't. Snowfall. They're reducing the energy consumption and reducing the power score. The logic is similar to the Tackler changes. If the logic is similar, where's the 19% damage nerf, you dumb fucking assholes? Like, why would you do this? What are you doing? What are you doing? If it's gonna keep doing low damage inaccurately, then don't reduce its damage again. Just, why? Because they're gonna shove another Tackler on? Who cares? It doesn't do good damage. It's terrible. The Nagul. This is the 3-shot revolver autocannon. The increase in spread after a shot is reduced from 2 degrees to 1 degree. In other words, they are cutting the bloom in half. And there's a reason for this, because it's dog shit. Anybody who has the Nagul knows, after that first shot breaks, which is accurate, 100% accurate, no problems with the first shot, you have to wait a good long time for that to get back on track. You fire that shot. Has anyone here actually played the Nagul? Like, comment below. If you've played the Nagul, tell me how you've, try triple tapping it, and then come back to me. Anybody who knows, you actually can miss people that are like 50 meters away, or 50, they're like really close. Really close. The first shot will hit, the second 2 shots won't even hit their build, they'll go flying over. So this will assist the Nagul in actually firing the gun. Omnibox, buffed. Perk now increases speed by 15% instead of 10%, and power by 25% instead of 20%. And then in the second mode, it speeds up the cooldown and reloading by 20% instead of 15%. Look, this is going to get rolled back. So have fun with it when if this makes it into the game. That's going to get rolled back. 20% reload increases. Nice. Here's the reason why. Because this makes the Omnibox, when in reload mode, just better than the Dead Man. The Dead Man, you require only 1 gun to get that 20% reload. Whereas you can already bring that 1 gun with the Omnibox. You get the idea. So, buff to the Omnibox, more power to you. Step Spider. So, I've said this before. Many times. That the Step Spider is just unfucking usable. It's unfucking usable. I'll explain that in a second. Let me just go over what the comment is. The perk no longer reduces rocket damage. How long did it take these Mac geniuses to figure this shit out? I knew immediately that this perk should never have reduced rocket damage. Ever. It never should have reduced rocket damage. So, how many perks in this game? How many modifiers in this game reduce your damage? One. Other than this, one. And that perk is on the Catalina, and the Catalina does so with the promise of increasing your damage later. That's the point. Step Spider there was no promise of increased damage. Originally, it gave you all the bonuses of the tighter spread and the faster projectile velocity in exchange for a 20% damage nerf. Don't worry, that's not what it is right now in live, but it was a 20% damage nerf. For those of us who do not understand what that means, 20% is 1/5 of the damage. If you use a cricket, it fires 5 rockets. If you use the cricket and you don't use the Step Spider cabin and hit 5 times, you do 100% damage. And if you hit 5 times with the Step Spider, you're doing effectively 80% damage of the Step Spider. That is the equivalent of missing 1 rocket with unperked. So if you were fighting normally with just crickets, without the Step Spider's perk, and you're able to hit 4 out of 5 of your rockets, even if a faster projectile velocity and a tighter spread would have got you that additional hit, you still needed that hit to break even for 1 miss. Total dog shit. Then they said, okay, we're gonna decrease the nerf, and now it's down to 15%, which what is on live. Still dog shit. It's a terrible idea. 15%, that means that even if you land all 5 rockets, you're still doing only, 86% or something like that damage? No, dog shit. Never should happen. Thankfully, they buffed it. They're like, whoopsie, things that buff things should buff things and not nerf things. Nerf things, stupid. Whoopsie. Yeah, they're figuring it out. The Arathon, the shotgun that never was. The shotgun that basically falls, it's Junkrat. Roadhog's shotgun, secondary fire, where it fires out a projectile in a tight ball. If it hits, it does jack shit damage, but if it reaches its full duration or its full distance, it will then explode into a shotgun blast that spreads out from that point, and it can do phenomenal damage. The projectile damage is being increased by 10%, the impulse is increased by 20%, pellet damage is increased by 10%, and the pellet spread reduced by 10%. Long story short, it has no efficiency for its complex-ass mechanics. This is the worst shotgun. It is. It just is. Of all the shotguns on the shotgun tier list, of all shotguns in all of Crossout, this is the only one that's bad. And so it needs this buff. Actually, believe it or not, it needs a bigger buff than that. But we'll continue on. Because it's the only shotgun that you, not only can you not be close to someone, you can't be far from somebody. This is like the Goldilocks gun. You've got to be at that perfect range every single time. And if they're too close, you do less damage. And if they're too far, you do no damage. Delicious. Finwell nerfed. Speed bonuses right now, 25%. Fused is 27, 28, something like that. Yeah, F that. They're like, too fast. No, too fast. You guys are going too fast. Everyone's going to use the fin whale because we're nerfing the oppressor. No, they're not nerfing the oppressor. They're increasing the rotation speed by such a great amount that people won't need the oppressor. Therefore, they're going to swap the fin whale. So they're pre-nerfing it. They don't even want to see you driving your car. Seriously, I'm not even joking. Jesus Christ, they really are nerfing speed in this patch. Anyway, we expect that after the weapon rotation change on the oppressor, people will stop using it, and they're going to use the fin whale. Because of that, that'll make the average speed higher by such a number that it's imperceivable. Like, seriously, speed of the oppressor is really, really close to that of the fin, whatever. To reduce this effect, we're bringing the bonus of the fin whale closer to that of the oppressor. Omni, nerfed. Do you guys remember how it's on every build? And how it's still going to be on every build? They're still nerfing it. It's still going to be on every build. But they're nerfing it. It now absorbs 300 damage instead of 400 damage. Durability of the actual module itself loses about 50. 51. Comment, even with increased energy consumption, when they converted to 3 energy, they expected people to remove this from their build. They actually expected people to remove it from their build. It's like, whoa, 3 energy. Well, no, not in this new system. I'm gonna go with the averter. No, that's not what the fuck. Sorry, I have no idea why they would have expected that. No, we're just gonna remove everything else but the Omamori. Bitch, we will remove wheels. we will remove frame. We won't even have frame. We only have wheels. It'll be just an Omamori and a fucking gun attached to the cabin before we remove this shit. No. You want to remove the Omamori? Targum, Gaijin, whatever the fuck. You want to remove the Omamori? Watch this. Double the durability of all the weapons in the game. Remove the Omamori from the game. Done. But no, people are having their guns removed too fast, which is the problem, by the way. The release of all these new pinpoint weapons, the release of all these things that reduce damage resistance, the release of all these things that are being released that have such high damage are making it so weapons are stripped faster. Pinpoint damage on weapons is the fastest way to win clan wars. The fastest way to defeat people. You remove their guns. So, sorry for coughing. So, everyone's going to err to the Omamori because they want their guns. They want to be able to shoot back. We need to pew-pew back, so we need it. So if the problem in your fucking video game is that people are stripping guns too quickly and now are overly reliant on the Omamori crutch, then the answer is guns aren't durable enough. Full stop. That's the answer, Targum. Just so you know, there's a game I played, and I've said this before. It's a game called MechWarrior Online. MechWarrior Online, you walk around giant mechs, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry. Don't click off the video yet, you assholes. Give me a second. I'm almost there, and I'll just make it quick. So basically, they use tabletop values for armor. The problem, and weapons. The problem was, in tabletop, weapon damage was sporadic. It went everywhere. So if you fired your AC 20 and you fired and you actually ended a hit, it could hit their leg, it could hit their torso, it could hit their right torso, it could hit their arm, it could hit, it could hit anywhere. But in a game where you can point your pew-pew where you want it, it always went into the center torso. And that meant that even the most durable mechs in the game got cored out through the CT, which is to say, shot straight through the center torso, and in crossout terms, destroyed through their cabin immediately. Immediate destruction. And so what they did is they doubled armor values. It was just a test. This was back in beta. They were like, well, we're going to try this with double armor values, which is effectively cutting all weapon damage in half. And they just doubled it because people were killing mechs too quickly. And you know what? It stuck. To this very day, they're still dealing with doubled armor values because of the fact that guns just remove shit too quick. If that's your problem, assholes, just double durability of guns. Yeti. Recharge time increased from 16 seconds to 25 seconds. Like that of the chameleons. Manually disabling the module now reduces recharge time by 68%, i.e. down to 8 seconds as it was before. The manual disabling delay is now 2 seconds instead of 1 second. Long story short, if you guys are well aware, because everyone knows this, the Yeti is the chameleon replacement. It is better than Chameleon. It doesn't matter that they made the energy cost 3. No one cares because everyone's still using it. Because you can cloak at the very start of the match and never be seen by your opponent. You can drive your lances all the way across the map perfectly invisible, all the way up into the ass of any cloaked person. People can use this combined with the Griffin to do this at 100% accuracy, and it's going to keep happening no matter what. And they're like, wah, what we're going to do is the recharge time. Wah, that's the problem. It's not that people are strapping these fucking things to their goddamn asses and are flying across the entire map invisible. That's not the problem. No. It's because people were recloaking. Arms crossed. You know what you could have done? Again, this is just, supposition. Just make it not recharge with the cheetah. Like, it has its own recharge mechanic. Just remove it from the cheetah's recharge mechanic. But they didn't. So, whatever. They're saying the change will reduce the frequency of vehicles entering the invisibility state, increase the value of disabling it. If used carefully, manually disabling the module will keep the recharge duration the same. So, this delay is obviously a nerf coming out of Cloak. But in reality, let's be completely real. That's not why you used it. You used it to get across the entire map to one-hit someone. So, anyway, Mandrake. This is a buff that came from the previous patch notes that I told you were coming. Energy consumption reduced from 14 to 13. Power score reduced as well. But even though the logic is similar to the Tackler and Snowfall, the Snowfall did not receive a damage nerf, neither did the Mandrake. Tackler still received a damage nerf because they hate that fucking gun. Narwhal, huge nerf. Remember when I said earlier the Narwhal's getting its? And they're increasing its rotation by 114% or some shit. Narwhal, nerf, energy consumption increased. 12 to 13, that's 2 more energy for full set. Power score increased. Comment, an extremely efficient weapon in various modes. The change aims to weaken vehicles that use the Narwhal by reducing their number of installed modules and increasing their power score. Yep, long story short, if you're using a narwhal with, I don't know, gee, if only there was a thing you'd use it with, I don't know, maybe this. Yeah, you're going to take off some other module. You're not removing this. I don't know why they're trying. It's not going to work. Pulsar, damage upon hit reduced by 9%, and damage bonus from hitting modules reduced from 30 to 20%. Pulsar was a dirty rapist. You guys know it, I know it, and also there were, several fusion events out there recently that were buffing the Pulsar because nobody had them. You know it. You guys know what the crossout looked like for 2 years. There were no Pulsars in fucking matches. You didn't see a single one. All of a sudden, Pulsars reemerged. It's not because they were great, though they are. It's because they were fusible and cheap. So they became cheap. They flooded the game. People started using them, and then they get nerfed immediately. They're like, no. Don't worry, though. The damage upon hit didn't exist before, so the blast damage of the Pulsar, which is the part that we were using for years upon years upon years, stayed the same, still is the same, etc. But the hit damage is being reduced. So there's that. Yokozuna. Now the perk increases the cabin's power by 200% instead of 30%. Jesus Christ. And speed by 10% instead of 20%. It's a nerf. The bonus to allies' power is now 50%. And the speed bonus for allies is now 10% for any cabins, not just heavy cabins. They have some reasons behind this, but ultimately the idea is that heavy cabins are chasing light cabins down. The brick meta. It's the brick meta. It sucks, but fucking, like, Thomas the Tank Engine's riding your ass into the ground, and there's nothing you can do about it. Doesn't matter if you're in a cockpit with 6 boosters strapped to your ass. They're riding you down. And so they're nerfing it. Yokozuna is the fastest heavy cabin, able to reach speeds using Sabbath wheels, the Yokozuna self-referential perk, as well as, I think it was the Oppressor at the time. Basically could reach 120. At one point in time, after all these nerfs, and then after the nerf to the cabin speed, after the nerf to all that shit, you're going to be lucky if you break 100 and 304. But whatever, they're nerfing everyone's speed, because they don't understand that if you nerf everyone, then it doesn't matter, it doesn't change anything. But that's a lot of power, so if you're playing a tug build, Yokozuna just came up fast. Damn, that came up fast. Hammerfall nerf! Damn it, sorry, coughing. Hammerfall nerfed. 1 more energy. Hey, Narwhal changes. Too good. Cost more. Also, this patch notes before. Told you it was coming. Nidhogg. 15% damage nerf. Why? Because the Jormungandr sucks. Not even joking. Basically, people just use the Nidhogg. It just blasts. It's like a big old splat cannon. So it's eating 15% of its DPS. See how I like that? Spark. Buff nerf? Basically, they're now reducing the armored vehicle's power and speed by 5% instead of 4%. It stacks up 12 times instead of 15 times. This is a buff purely, just so you know. Because the idea is that at 5% stacks up to 12, it's going to have like basically the same percentage, but you're going to reach it faster. Long story short, they're like, hey, we wanted to make this, an independent weapon. We want to make it its own girl. It don't need no man. It's its own thing. Turns out, didn't work at all. No shit. Because anybody... fucking play this game. Does anyone play this game? No, obviously you guys do, but here's why. I'll tell the devs this. They don't watch my videos. That's all right. The reason why the Spark change was never going to make the Spark or the Flash independent weapons instead of auxiliary weapons. It's because you can't aim them, man. Fucking, you turn the corner, the Spark sees the guy, you left mouse button, it chooses their bumper. Yeah, you're hitting them. Yeah, you're doing damage, but you didn't choose which part of their build the Spark is attacking. It's attacking their fucking bumper. So, under no world is the Spark ever going to be effective. Unless you dramatically increase the damage, and if you do that, then it's going to be overpowered. So you've got a weapon that can never truly be good. It's not that it can't be good, it's that if it is good, it's going to be overpowered. And if it's not good, it's going to be what it is now. Dog shit. BC-17 Tsunami and CC-18 Typhoon. Oh wait, hold on. One final note about the Spark. It works great as a support weapon, though. Like, if you're using it to support, let's say in Levy CW, to help, slow down the opponent's Leviathan, if you're using it to clear minefields, if you're using it for those purposes, Spark is fine. If you use it in conjunction with melee, so that you can actually slow them down so you can get a good bite, things like that, Spark actually works fine. It's just never going to be a weapon on its own. BC-17 Tsunami and CC-18 Typhoon. Nerf! Recoil reduced by 23%. No! Alright, I'm going to tell you guys something. There's a perk in this game that requires you to... Not a perk. There's an achievement in this game. Jesus Christ, perk. There's an achievement in this game that requires you to get kills while airborne. In order to do that, the Tsunami is actually one of the best weapons in the entire game to achieve this. Its current recoil before they nerf it. What you do is you take a Growl Cabin, 2 Wheels, and 2 Tsunami, and then you go fight. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Every single time you fire, your build will fly off the ground and do a backflip, which is great. And if you kill a guy, it's instantaneous. You just start racking up the kills. So in order to achieve that perk, or achieve, not perk, in order to complete that achievement, that is the fastest way to do it. I'm telling you this now because before this patch hits is your only opportunity to actually make that build work. Go do raids, go do whatever you have to do with that to farm those badges now while you can. Because 23% recoil reduction usually sounds like a buff. It's actually a huge nerf for the Tsunami, and they know it because high efficiency in combination with the Whaler, in other words, the Whaler only, the perk of which charges too quickly when using these guns. In other words, you fire both shots, every shot is basically 20% increased. And they didn't like it. They're like, no, the Whaler actually doesn't suck. No! We made this cabin to suck, but people are using a gun that actually can trigger its perk. Get that shit out of my face. Let me go nerf the Blight cabin again. The change will also slightly increase the comfort of playing vehicles with their cabins. Suck 2 ticks. No, it won't. Breaker. Nerf. They just don't like them. 1 more energy. Get dick down on. Jormungandr. So I was going to release a video that had to do with heating mechanics and cooling mechanics in this game. I put it off, and I'm glad I did, because every fucking thing in this game that I learned about the heating and cooling mechanics of the game getting changed. Damage increased by 33%. Heating from a pellet reduced from 12.5% to 5%. So I didn't know this before I did the heating heating testing. But yeah, no, the Jormungandr absolutely heats 12.5% per pellet, and that equates 100% when you aim at one thing, such as a cabin. And so everyone was running around with a super cheap, ultra powerful build of 1 Jormungandr, 2 Nidhogg's. Comment, the shotgun was weak as a standalone weapon and was exclusively used in combination with 2 Nidhogg's. The problem was due to the fact that a shot from a single Jormungandr heated parts to 100%. You didn't need more than one. Having more than 1 Jormungandr was stupid because you can only get to 100% heat. So once you, like all those other Jormungandrs, which are heating guns, specifically superheating guns, their shots were useless. So, and its own damage was lower than that of the Nidhogg. That's right, independent shots, the Jormungandr did less damage. Yeah. So these changes helped the Jormungandr become a weapon in its own right. They're saying that kind of like that DEI shit. Here's the reason why. What they're forgetting is, in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, they took damage away from the Nidhogg. And they just gave it to the Jormungandr. God damn. God damn. Flash 1. Same thing as a Spark. Now it reduces power and speed, etc. Stacks up to 12 instead of 17. Long story short, logics are similar. My goodness. My goodness. Well, what's the takeaway of all these patch notes that I've spent freaking nearly 45 minutes talking to you about? Too long didn't read it now instead of too long didn't read it at the start. Because if I do it at the start, you're just going to hear that and then leave, and I won't get any clickbait. So anyway, so long story short, buff to all guns that spin around. Nerf to wheels in every way that makes wheels good. Buff to weapons that were reliant upon momentum. Nerf to the speed upgrade for all cabins, especially heavy cabins. Get dick down on heavy cabins. Nerf to reload. Buffs to random weapons. Caucus removed from the game. And yeah, I think Omori is still going to be used. Doesn't matter. They're never going to stop using it, you dumb fuck. Listen, we're not going to stop using it. Anyway, continuing on. Yeah, that's it, basically. A bunch of weapon balances that I don't think are necessary. A huge nerf to the Tsunami and Typhoon. Rip, Tsunami, and Typhoon. At one point in time, you were good. Then you got total dog shit. You made a comeback. Then you became dog shit again. And then you yet again got whalered into a comeback. And then you got whalered right the fuck back out of it. God damn. Tsunami and Typhoons are getting screwed. And Jormungandr, massive nerf. Good to know. Good to know. How do I feel about the changes? I mean, it's crossout. Right? This is crossout, chat. This is crossout. Anyway, leave your comments below, your rage hate. And if you're one of those people who watches my videos and you're all like, and you actually made it to this point, Jesus Christ, at the 45-minute mark, exactly as I say that, if you've actually made it 45 minutes in, stop saying you're quitting crossout. Like, why are you coming to my videos and be like, I'm quitting this horrible game, it's broken, I hate the devs. Oof. Yeah, we all hate the devs. We all are gonna quit. But come on now. Be a little bit more positive. I mean, who knows, right? The sun will come out tomorrow. So, I think that's it. Good luck out there. Peace.